Hey y'all, it's your girl JJ. Oh, somebody's fired. Somebody is fired. Hey y'all, it's your girl JJ. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Now right off the top, I want to apologize because I didn't get to the comments on last week's Haves and Have-Nots video. Doran, I know you commented. Appreciate you, my main man, Doran. Railsy, you commented. What's up? Somebody else, I can't remember who it was. But I'm sorry. I didn't get to. I kept saying I gotta get to him. I gotta get to him. Then I would caught up with something else, and then I remember today I was like I gotta get to him, and I was just like I don't even think it's gonna mean nothing if I get to him today. But I think I'm gonna still try and go back because y'all know I live for the comments. Like I'll be telling y'all that. That's really sincere. So thank you guys so much for commenting. Please continue to comment. Much love. And Rosie, I know you waiting on the shout outs. Listen, I'm gonna do them next week because I'm kind of tired. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get to him next week. I'm sorry. Alright, so this is the Haves and the Have-Nots, Season 5, Episode 9, We All Need Forgiveness, okay? So, I don't want to say this was a filler episode, but, it was a chill episode. Like, there wasn't really a lot going on. It was kind of just filling in the blanks of stuff that's already happened, okay? We know Candace is on the way to the hotel. She had to sneak out. Jeffrey, Justin, and Wyatt got in a fight. This is the aftermath. It was, like, finishing things up. It wasn't really this huge, you know. So yeah, it was a chill episode. Good episode for a reviewer. Not a lot of dialogue. By the way, what's up to the Jedi? Alright, so let's go in. The Haves and Have-Nots, Season 5, Episode 9, We All Need Forgiveness. So, remember last week, Jeffrey, Justin, and Wyatt all got in this fight because Justin was jealous of Jeffrey and Wyatt's interaction with each other. So Jeffrey, they got to fight. Jeffrey ended up getting the gun, holding Justin at gunpoint. The other cop comes upstairs, holds the gun on Jeffrey, like, put the gun down. What are you doing? This week we pick up there. So the cop actually shoots, but he doesn't shoot Jeffrey. Like, he, like, shot somewhere to scare him, and it did, because Jeffrey was stunned, and he, like, dropped the gun and, like, fell to the floor. Like, he got shot, but he didn't. Because at first I was like, did he get grazed or something? But nah, he just got scared and fell to the ground. So Justin immediately reacts because, like, in a weird way, he's, like, very protective of Jeffrey. And I say it's weird because, well, you're married, first of all. And then you fist fought him, like, less than 5 seconds ago in terms of the show. And then now I'm over it. So, yeah, the cop shoots at Jeffrey and Justin goes crazy on the cop. Like, he elbows him in his face, and then he takes the cop's gun and points it at him. And he's like, why would you do that? And then he's like, sorry, man, I thought he was hurting you. He was like, well, he wasn't. We were just playing around. Like, what's wrong with you? And he's like, get out of here. And he's like, I'm sorry, man. He's like, get out of here, rookie. Go back to the station. Take them to the station. And he just goes off on him. So the rookie leaves. And then he goes over to Jeffrey, like, like, I don't even know. Like, damsel in distress. Are you okay, Jeffrey? Like, it was so multiple personality of him. It was crazy. Like, I was like, is this the person? Yeah, he's like, Jeffrey, are you okay? And then Jeffrey's like, get away from me. He's like, I'm sorry. I just wanted us to leave. He's like, get away from me. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, just go. So he leaves, right? Then we cut to commercial. We come back. And Wyatt is talking to Jeffrey because Wyatt is just looking confused the whole time. And Wyatt is like, who is that? And Jeffrey goes, a friend. He goes, a friend? And he's like, yeah. He goes, a lover? He goes, no, a friend. Like I said, he's like, well, you need to stay away from that guy because he's crazy. And Jeffrey's like, I know. He said it like he knew, though. He said it like he knew, but Veronica said something tonight that I think is true. We'll get to it. Yeah. Should I say it now? No, I'll wait. Yeah, alright. So Wyatt goes to the window and looks out, like, to see if he left. He's like, well, he's not leaving. Like, I guess he was just sitting in his car because it just showed Wyatt looking out the window. And Jeffrey's like, he will. And Wyatt's like, how do you know that? He's like, he will. Trust me. He got to go home to his wife. He didn't say that, but that's like, yeah, you got to go home to your wife. Like, what are you doing? And then Wyatt goes back, and then Jeffrey's like, I gotta go. He's like, well, maybe you should wait till he leaves. Like, you're not going nowhere with him. He was like, I drove, first of all. And he's like, well, maybe you need to wait till he leaves. He's like, nah, I gotta go. He's like, you're just gonna leave, Jeffrey? He's like, yeah, I told you, call the number. He was like, Jeffrey, please. He was like, call the number. Like, Jeffrey was over it, and he just left. Like, it was a wrap for that. So, then we switch to Candace. She is laying in bed with baby QJ, Quincy Jr. Alright. My little brother Quincy, and she kisses him goodbye, and she's out of there. She sneaks out the window because Benny is actually sitting in front of the door with the chair because he knows Candace. So she ended up sneaking out the window though. And this episode actually moved kind of quick. Like, I felt like I was just watching, like, for 20 minutes or something. Because the scenes went like that. Like, we seen Candace leave the hotel and leave the motel. It went to another scene, went back to Candace at the Artesian. Like, it was like, very, like, fast-paced. So then we switch, wait a minute. Yeah, then we switch to David and Erica. Okay, they're laughing up down the hallway. Oh my God, that was so funny. He's like, really? She like, yeah. She goes, good night, because they're at her room. And he's like, really? Because he wants to come in. And she's like, you know I'm not that kind of girl. And he's like, I'm not judging you, I'm just saying. And she was like, oh, so, she said something like, oh, so you think that you like me or something like that? No, you think you want to, you're sure you want to come in? And he was like, oh, you have to question it? And he comes up and, like, kisses her. And she's like, wow, that was huge. And he's like, yeah, he's like, please, can I come in? Like, I don't know, I don't like this with David, because David is like the godfather to me. So, like, all this, it's like, what are you doing, David? What are you doing? So, yeah, he's just like, please, can I come in? And he ends up, like, all over her, like, as she's opening the door, like, he's on her. I'm just like, what are you doing? And so they go in the room. Then we switch back to Candace, like I said. She's already at the Artesian. So Oscar comes up to her. She's like, get off me. He's like, change. Don't let him see you like that. She's like, get off of me. Because he goes, he's right over there. So then we see Candace going. Yeah, Candace goes up wherever. I think it was the 30th. Nah, that was her room. I don't know what floor Erica's on. But she goes up to the room and she's just about to knock on the door. But then she sees there's the do not disturb sign on the door. So she's like, okay, let me call it. As we switch into the room, when Candace is outdoors, Erica and David can't keep their hands off of each other. So they're on the bed. Okay, and let's just say David need to go and brush his teeth immediately. Alright? That's all I'll say about that. So yeah, Candace calls right at the time that David needs to be brushing his teeth and then repenting for all that sin that he just did. Yeah. So Candace calls her. She's like, yeah, Erica, come outside the door. And mind you, Erica can't even talk straight because David needs to brush his teeth, alright? She can't even talk straight. She's like, yeah, Gina, what? Huh? And just all this movement, you know. Cause y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not about to say it because it's disgusting. Alright? But, whatever. So yeah, she's like, yeah, she goes, well, say his name so that he doesn't think you're on the phone with another man. She goes, oh yeah, Gina, I'm with my man, David. And she goes, good. She was like, and Candace is on the other line, like, what are y'all doing? But she didn't ask that. It was just kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of busy right now. And so because at first she was like, I'm at the door. And she was like, well, I can't. She was like, no. And she goes, oh, is David in there? She's like, yeah. And he's like, mind you, he's like trying to pull up her dress and everything. I was like, David, what the heck? So then they get off the phone and she's like, oh yeah, Sarah. And Gina. And then hangs up the phone. And then she pushes David off of her, pulls her dress back down. Brush your teeth, David. That's all I was saying. I didn't even want to look at him. Or her. Because she did. So what the heck was this, Tyler? What was it? I didn't write this. I went on set last week and I told Tyler specifically, kill off Erica. So we shouldn't have even seen her this week. Okay? That's what I said. Moving on. So she gets up, she's like, no, she needs the dress. I didn't get this part. What did she do? Grab a dress and go out and give it to somebody in the hallway? And he believed that the girlfriend was just right outside the door? Because I heard a door open and close and she came back. I didn't get it. So then they start kissing again. His phone rings. It's Jim. He's telling him, and then she needs to brush her teeth now. Okay, let's just put it like that. They both needed teeth brushings. Brushing of teeth, alright? Because then she's like, it's your turn. He's like, no, I can't handle that when I'm on the phone. She's like, you're a coward. She's just still undoing his belt, whatever. They got it cracking. So he's on the phone. Jim is like, yeah, I need to find Wyatt, so I need you to give me that guy's number. He goes, by the way, thanks for getting my money back. Thanks, I really appreciate it. Now, could you get me his number? And he's like, yeah. And Jim is like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm with a friend. He goes, what kind of friend? He goes, a female friend. He goes, well, before you engage in any more of that activity, he knew what he was talking about. He was like, make sure you text me his number. He's like, okay, I will. They hang up the phone. Okay. Then Erica, like, he kind of pushes her up because he couldn't handle it. So they get off, and Erica actually gets, like, a text message or something where she has to take it. And then David, she's like, I'll make this quick or something. He's like, nah, we're both like about to get off our phones, this, that, and the third. That's how that went. Okay. So then we switched to Jim and Catherine just at there. Jim is laughing because he can't believe that this is David. Like, we know what you're doing, man. So Catherine is coming downstairs. She's in a robe. And she's like, oh my God, Jim, like, what are you still doing here? And he's like, Catherine, I live here. And just, as usual. So she's going down there. And she gets 2 wine glasses. He goes, who are the wine glasses for? She goes, me and my guest. She goes into the room. I said, is that the paper boy who's handing out the paper? Then I was like, no, that wasn't him. That was his brother. That was you know what? No, that was the paper boy she had in the room. The paper boy who just, throws paper. That was him. I said, what is she even got the paper boy up in her room? You trying to give her a massage, Catherine? You got the paper boy up there? So, anyway, she goes up there. She tries to slam the door on Jim. He opens the door. He said, Catherine, are you really going to try this? She goes, try what? Because he's thinking he's an escort. And he goes, Catherine, that young man do not want you. Like, she goes, no, yes he does. No, she goes, what are you talking about? I'm just getting a massage. He goes, Catherine, do not try and seduce this young man. He does not want you. She goes, well, he will in a minute. And just all this. And she goes, have you ever had a sugar mama? He goes, no, ma'am. This boy looks terrified. Like, he's scared that she's going to even wink at him. And she's like, have you ever had a sugar mama? And she's leaning in. He's like, no. And then she goes, do you want one? He goes, no, ma'am. And then he's like, young man, are you an escort? He goes, no, sir. And then she's like, I'm just getting a massage, Jim. He goes, Catherine, this is a shame. Like, leave this kid alone. He goes, kid, get the heck out of here. He's like, okay, I have my boss sent for the table because he really was a masseuse. And then so the kid leaves, and then he goes, Catherine, really, this is what you're going to do? And she goes, I can't help it if, I'm get me a man or something like that. He was like, getting a man and having to pay for one are 2 different things. She goes, oh, you really think I can't get a man? She was like, I might have to show you. And he goes, Catherine, don't even pull it on me today. Like, I'm not no force. They're just going back and forth. And then she goes, Jim, I really wasn't even trying to do nothing with that kid. I just saw you, so I decided to get 2 wine glasses because I was angry. I really was just ready for my massage. Like, I wasn't even trying to do nothing. And then she goes, do you even know where Wyatt is? He goes, no, but I'm looking for him. And she goes, well, hurry up. And he goes, I'm looking for the money too. She goes, okay, well, once you do that, then leave. And he goes, well, why don't you leave? She goes, well, I just might do that. And then she walks away. So then we switch to Jim. He's back downstairs. He calls Oscar. He goes, did David tell you I was going to call? This, that. He goes, yeah. Moral of this phone call was, I charged 10% of all my expenses. No, he goes, I charge 10% plus expenses out of whatever it is. And then he goes, Oscar, that's 1.2. No, he goes, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 5. Oscar goes, no, I don't negotiate. It's 1.2 million or nothing. He goes, so I don't negotiate. He goes, I'm the best. I'm sure you can find somebody cheaper, but I don't negotiate. And he's just telling him, he goes, I need to find my son. He's got $12 million. And Oscar's eyes lit up. He goes, did he steal the money? Jim is like, nah, but we just need to get it back and stuff. He goes, yeah, I get it. He goes, Wyatt? He goes, you know him? He goes, no, I just searched him up. Wyatt Cryer. And he's like, yeah. So, yeah, he's going to be looking for Wyatt. And he goes, all right, I get it. He's not going to negotiate. He's like, all right, 10% it is. And he goes, all right, I'll call you tomorrow and give you the details. That's how that went. So, then, oh yeah, as he got off the phone with Jim, Candace walks by. She looks fabulous. The dress was a little revealing, which actually came out later tonight. The hair was fabulous. I said, is that Cleopatra? What? Nah. She looked fabulous. I'll say that. She looked fabulous. I said she's representing for the sisters. So, she walks by, and she goes up to the bar. And she knows the bartender. She knows Rocky, because I guess he used to turn tricks, too. Like, conning men and stuff like that. Because I guess I don't want to do that. He's into men, is how she made it seem. She was like, because then she tries to open up a tab. And because he offered, and she goes, oh yeah, sure, because she doesn't have any money on her. And he's like, I'm just going to need to see a credit card first. And she's like, oh, well, actually, I'll just take 1 drink for now, and then I'll see about opening a tab. And he goes, okay. He goes, I would help you out, girl, but, the manager is watching me. And she goes, look at you going straight. He goes, what you mean? She was like, you not running a game on the boys no more? And he goes, I see you are, or something like that. And so, I guess, yeah, he used to do stuff like that, too. And she looks over at Charles, as he says that. And then she turns back around. She goes, let me just get a drink, like a martini. And then she walks over. And by the way, Rocky asked her, he was like, so what was going on with you and that guy earlier? And she goes, oh, that was just my brother. 'Cause remember, Benny came to the Artesian and lit stuff up. And so she's like, that was just my brother. Like, it's fine, Rocky. It's cool. And he's like, okay, I just want to make sure you were okay. So she just goes and sits matter of fact, she goes up to Charles. She talks to him first. Sorry about this. And she goes, hi, how are you? Like, he's like, I'm fine. And then, so she goes, do you want to close your tab? And he's like, no. But he's like, I'll take a whiskey, because he doesn't even look at her. Like, he's just like, she must be a waitress, or all of my business, or something. And, she goes, okay. And then she walks over, she goes, Rocky, what's he drinking? He goes, whiskey? She goes, well, let me get a whiskey then. Goes back to the table, gives him a whiskey. He goes, thank you. She sits down. He looks up, he's like, and by the way, he's stunned, because obviously you could tell he thought she was beautiful. He didn't say it. But then he goes, I'm sorry, I didn't need anything else. And she goes, I'm not a waitress. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. She goes, you didn't even look at me. He goes, I'm really sorry. And they kind of went in deep here. And by the way, when she drops off the whiskey, she goes, do you want to close your tab? And he goes, no, like, I'm going to have a few more drinks. So yeah, she sits down, and then he's like, I'm sorry. And she goes, well, I'm Candace. And he goes, I'm Charles. She goes, wait, Charles? He goes, please don't. Like, I've been here. Nobody's recognized who I am. It's fantastic. And then Rocky comes by with the martinis, and she's like, do you want one? He's like, nah, I'm a whiskey man. She's like, yeah, I can tell. And then he tries to go, he's like, what do you do? She goes, that's rather personal. Like, Candace is trying to, like, the nervous girl type, which we don't see Candace like this, so it was kind of like, girl, please stop doing it. She kept doing this, like, oh my God, like, did you just ask me that? I was like, Candace, shut up. I couldn't do it, okay? It showed how well of an actress she is, but I was over it, because he goes, what do you do for a living? She goes, oh, wow, she goes, that's kind of personal. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then, yeah, and then he goes, well, I'm the president of the United States, so, like, I have to ask questions like this. And, so she goes, oh, wow, well, you don't sound happy about, possibly being the president of the United States. He goes, no, I'm happy about it. It's just that I have to get used to losing all anonymity. Like, people are always going to know who I am. I'm never going to really have privacy. And, so then he goes, are you a reporter? By the way, I think that actor has an accent, because I've seen him in something else, and he's, like, got a British accent. And I'm kind of, like, maybe hearing it. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've seen him. And he had a British accent. Yeah, so he goes, are you a reporter? She goes, why would you ask me that? And he's like, she goes, no. And he goes, well, would you mind taking the battery out of your phone? She goes, why? He's like, I just have issues with trusting people, being how I am and stuff. You never know. And then she goes, okay. She just tells Rocky to come, the bartender, she tells him to come take her purse. And he goes, thank you. And he goes, as a president, I'm never going to be allowed to have a smartphone. And she's like, really, why? And he goes, just security reasons. So, yeah. And then she goes, and I'm not wearing a wire. And, like, she, like, kind of flashes him. Because, like I said, the dress is kind of revealing. So she goes like this. And you see, like, half her, like, actual breast. And then she's, like, a bra type. I don't know. I was confused by it. But it was just a lot going on. And he kind of looked like, oh, snap. She goes, don't worry. I'm not wearing a wire. And then when he was kind of stunned, she was like, oh, there's no cameras over there either. And he's like, you noticed that too? She's like, yeah. He goes, why? What do you mean? Well, in my profession, I'm trained to notice that, but why would you notice it? She goes, I'm very observant. He goes, or maybe the business that you're in requires you to notice things like that. She goes, she goes, what are you trying to say? He goes, you know what I'm trying to say. Are you a working girl? Calling her a prostitute. And, somebody is fired. So she's like, you know what? Have a good night. And she just gets up and leaves. He didn't follow her. At least not at that moment. She goes to the bar. Oscar sees this and starts panicking because he's like, oh snap, the plan is falling through. He gets up and goes over there and I guess is trying to get the guy's attention by kind of being a jerk to her, hoping that he's gonna... It kind of worked, but it didn't. So he's just being loud and looking like really drunk. And he's just like, hey, can I get you a drink? And Candace is like, leave me alone. Like, she's serious. Like, why are you coming up to me? And he's just telling her, listen, he thinks that you're a hoe. You look like you're certainly dressed like one. And it looked like she was very offended by that, because at some point, like, she was falling for this guy. She told him that. And now you sit up here calling me a hoe. Like, he said she was a hoe. And yeah, he goes, you know, he thinks you're a hoe. You certainly look like one. He goes, we have to do something to make him believe that you're not. And she gave this look like, I'm not. And then he was kind of just like, listen, you need to hurry up, because he leaves in 3 days. And just, you need to get this done quick. Like, come on. And he goes, and your face is plastered all over the news. You need to do this before he finds out who you are. So she's like, just get away from me. Just get away from me. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. It's just all this. Because then Rocky comes up and is like, is he bothering you? And she goes, yeah. And then Rocky tells him, just blow away. You know what I'm saying? And blew him away. All right. So she's like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be here. She gets her purse, leaves, tells Rocky he could build everything to her room, because she has a room there. I thought she was lying, but no, Oscar got her a room. So she's leaving, and then Charles actually does get up and follow her. So they're having this conversation down the hallway. No, actually they get in the elevator, and he's like, well, I can press I'm going to floor 30. She goes, you know, me too, this, that. And he goes, you know, I just want to apologize for saying that you were a working girl. I shouldn't have said that. And she goes, I'm fine. And, you know, thank you. And she goes, sorry, future president. She goes, the future president thinks I'm a hoe. And this has just been a crazy night. And he goes, well, I'm sorry, Candace. And she goes, you remember my name? He's like, I'm always good with names and faces. And she goes, well, thank you. He goes, for what? She goes, for remembering my name. He goes, well, I'm sure people always remember you. And so they get off the elevator. She's like, this has just been a crazy night. He's like, well, what happened tonight? And she's like, come on, you don't want to know. And he's like, I'm a Tennessee boy. Like, I could take it. She's like, you don't sound like you from Tennessee. He said, born and raised, but I knew if I wanted to make it on this market, I couldn't have the draw. So he got rid of the Southern accent. So she goes, aren't you worried that it's going to look suspicious with... No, aren't you worried about the cameras? He goes, I'm not worried. She goes, don't you think it's going to look weird that you're walking in front of me and you won't even look back at me? And he goes, you're smart. She goes, I just noticed things and just... She goes, well, this is my room. Good night, Senator. And he goes, no way. She goes, is that your room? He goes, yeah. She goes, I don't believe in coincidences. He goes, me either. And then she's like, good night. And then she goes in the room. She starts looking for cameras because she knows Oscar is trash. Okay, so she's looking for cameras. She finds them all, flushes them down the toilet. He immediately calls her, why would you do that? I need this on tape. I need proof. The people want it on tape. And this cost me millions and stuff. You know, this is going to be worth millions and all this. And then he goes, you have all these books on your bed because you're a law student. And you're in your final year of law school, and just all this. So, you know, make him believe that and all this. And then he goes, now yell at me, and then hang up the phone. She goes, don't call here again, and she hangs up. And he goes, atta girl. And she tells him when on the phone, she goes, we're not in this together. So he goes, listen, you have to tape it though, please. Because at first she's just like, no, like, we're not in this together. He goes, okay, fine, you could be in charge of the tapes, but you have to tape it. Please tape it. So then she goes, don't call me again, hangs up. Charles calls her. And she goes, what? Because she thinks it's him, but it's Charles. And he goes, I'm sorry. And she goes, who's this? He's like, it's Charles. She's like, oh, well, what do you want? He goes, I just want to apologize for tonight, like that I assume that you're, you know. And she goes, open the door. He said, okay, so they hang up the phone. Because their rooms are adjoined. He opens the door. And... she's telling them the lies that Oscar told, and she adds more in. Like, I'm in my final year of law school. I'm broke. I got this hotel room. I spent my last to get it, you know, for me and my boyfriend. It's our anniversary, to find out that he was actually cheating on me with a girl on campus. So that's the truth, you know. I'm from a rough neighborhood. It took me a long time to get here. You don't want to be seen with me. And then he just tells her, he goes, let's raid the minibar. She goes, I was vulnerable to you and you're going to try and take advantage of me? He's like, no, I just want to be normal and just have a drink. That's all. She goes, okay, I trust you, but we have to keep this door open. He's like, okay. So then we switch to Jeffrey. He's pulling in. Justin followed him. I don't know about Justin because okay, you wanted to come and apologize to me, but you followed me home. I don't know. So yeah, he's just like, Jeffrey, talk to me, please. You know, I'm sorry. And he goes, you almost got me killed. He's like, I know, I'm sorry. Like, just tell me you forgive me and all this. It was repetitive because then Jeffrey is just like, you know, okay, but you could have got me killed. He's like, I know, I'm sorry. this, that, and the third. And by the way, he's still claiming that he's straight. I thought we got over that, but no, the cop is still saying that he's straight. And then he's like, I just didn't like how he was touching you. You know, it made me think that I was going to lose you. I don't want to lose you. And Jeffrey's like, don't tell me you're in love with me. He goes, no, I like you a lot. And I've never been in a situation like this before. So, like, it's new to me. Okay, Justin. You probably ain't never been in a full-on relationship, but we know you've been touching up on males before. So yeah. Then he goes, no, you're still upset. He's like, yeah, I'm not leaving until you say you forgive me. He's like, come on, this is my mom's house. You can't be here. He's like, I'm not going to leave until you say you forgive me, because she's coming outside at this point. He's like, okay, I forgive you. Now go. It was too late. Veronica spotted him, and that was that. And by the way, she looked up at the top window. That's how she knew, because she sees them talking to each other. She was like, nah, that's your boyfriend. That's how she was looking. Gets down and she goes, what's going on? Oh, he made an illegal U-turn on the way to the house. And Jeffrey goes, we all need forgiveness. You know, I forgave him, forgave me. And then he goes, well, she goes, Jeffrey, what did you forgive him for? And then he goes, you know, I got a tad bit aggressive. She goes, oh, how so? He goes, you know, Mom, it's fine. Is Melissa in the house? She goes, yeah, why don't you go in there? So pretty much this is what happened. She told Justin, stay away from my son. Because he tried to be like, you know, we just met and everything. And she goes, do you know who I am? He goes, yeah, you're Jeffrey's mother. She goes, Jeffrey, you're pretty familiar with him. And he goes, well, I just met him tonight. She goes, no, you didn't. You're lying. He goes, no, I'm not. She goes, one thing I am is perceptive. He goes, and another thing you are is wrong. I just met him tonight. And she goes, you know what, stay away from him. Do you understand me? He goes, yeah, I understand. He don't understand. Because next week we see, remember last week? I'm going to say this. Wait, matter of fact, okay. Veronica comes, because Jeffrey came like back outside when they were done talking, because Justin pulls off. And Veronica like comes back in the house with Jeffrey. And she's telling him, she goes, you got that same look in your eye you did for Wyatt Cryer. Why are you so protective of me? He's like, I'm not, Mom. Like, I'm not. And she goes, Jeffrey, you think I'm a fool? He goes, Mom, I wasn't with him or anything like that. She goes, I can smell him on you. She goes, what are you doing? You got this, she literally said this. So she's like, you got this fine woman upstairs and you are running after some disgusting wannabe cop? Like, that's what you want to do, Jeffrey? Why can't you be a man, Jeffrey? Be a man. She goes, oh, what? You bucking up on me again? You looking for a paring knife? She did like this, too. She goes, do that and see who gets you out of prison. She goes, now go upstairs. She goes, now. And she like, and he even went like that at one point because she got real in his face. She goes, now go upstairs and be a man. Like telling him, go sleep with your future wife. All right. So he goes upstairs. And by the way, I don't appreciate this from Jeffrey because next week we see that he's trying to get really, oh, he was touching me and all that, like telling Melissa. Why are you doing that? I mean, I guess he's bitter because she's pregnant and, like, he's mad about that still. Jeffrey, it takes two to tango. Like, yeah, she was really aggressive because I remember that episode, but you ain't have to get in bed with the girl. You essentially made the last call on that because you a strong dude. You could have pushed her off. You tried and then you were kind of like, okay, forget it. I might as well sleep with her. So it's your fault, too, that she's pregnant. Don't do that. You don't gotta be in there first talking about he was touching me. And he was doing like, really, Jeffrey? You lost your mind. And by the way, Veronica threatened Justin. She goes, if you don't tell me the truth right now, I'm gonna tell the chief of police. But he still stuck to the story like we just met this that. So then we switch to Wyatt. He's calling Jeffrey. He's not answering the phone. So he's flashing back to when Jeffrey says, just call the number. So he calls the number and the woman is like, hello, what's your name? She goes, I'm Wyatt. He goes, I'm Wyatt. She goes, are you detoxing? He goes, yeah, heroin. And she's like, all right, well, he goes, can you help me? She goes, yeah, but it's kind of pretty much going to cost you like that. She ain't say it that. She said something else. She goes, there's going to be medical, like there's a lot. She said, there's a lot we're going to offer you. And he kind of like, put it together and realized it was going to cost money. Because then she goes, we have doctors, we have everything. And then he goes, oh, don't worry, I can pay. And she goes, oh, that's fine. She goes, we're going to send a doctor right now. I hope this is legit. She goes, yeah, we're going to send a doctor to your house right now. He gives them the address. Bam. They hang up the phone. And he was really going through it like bad. All right. And I don't know what you expect Jeffrey to drive all the way back to your apartment? He's gone, buddy. So then we switched to Hannah. She came back to the station. Now, I'm mad at Hannah for this. I'm not even about to lie about it. We switched to Hannah. She's in the car. She came back to the station. She's in the car. Catherine calls her back. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Remember Jim snatched the phone when she was talking to Hannah? She goes, I'm sorry I took this long to get back to you. She's like, it's no problem. Please don't sell the car. Like, you gotta let me give you some money. You know, she's like, I don't know about that. She's just like, please don't sell the car. And then she goes, I have something to tell you. It's about your daughter. She goes, oh, here we go. She goes, did you know she's wanted for questioning over Quincy Maxwell? She goes, no, I think she just said she's wanted for questioning. And then she goes, yeah, I know. Like, it's all over the news. She goes, well, here's what you don't know. You know that money that she got from Jim that she blackmailed him for? You want to know how she did it? She goes, no. She goes, hold on. Text her a picture. She goes, did you get it? She goes, get what? She goes, I just sent you a picture. She goes, oh my God. And then Catherine is like, I'm sorry, I should have warned you first. And then she goes, how did you get that? She's like, I kept one of the pictures the detective gave me. Jim doesn't know about it. And then, so she's like, she goes, even now, I'm still trying to save her life. She goes, Hannah, what are you talking about? Is everything okay? She's like, it's alright, I just have to figure out, like, how I can save her, because there's something going on, right? They're talking about Warlock, but she didn't tell her that. She goes, is it okay if I call you tomorrow? She's like, yeah, but are you sure you're okay? And she's like, yeah, I just have to call you tomorrow. She goes, alright, Hannah, like, be careful on this, that. Hangs up the phone. She goes into the station. She goes, talks to the cop at the desk. She goes, you guys are looking for my daughter? She goes, and I know what she is. Who's your daughter? Candace Young. The cop's face lit up like, yeah, witch. We know that witch. Where is she at? Now, I am over it. Why would you say you know where she's at? Because, listen, remember, this is what I was going to say. Justin, yeah, first I think I said that. Yeah, Veronica thinks that Jeffrey is in love with Justin because that's the same look he had for Wyatt. So, here's what's going to go down. Because remember, Justin last week told Jeffrey, why don't you just say it was Candace? Like, why don't you just say it was her? At this point in time, all they have are Jeffrey's keys. The body is buried in Candace's backyard. Who do you think is going to get more jail time? Or jail time at all? Because at this point, I don't really know how they would nail Jeffrey. Because, like I said, all you have is the car keys. But I'm like, what? The murder weapon. Remember they stabbed him. Where's the knife? That's what I want to know. Did they bury that with Quincy? Because if so, Jeffrey is definitely going to jail if it gets down to that. Everything is inadmissible at this point. Anything they found after 5 o'clock, which everything was buried with Quincy, the keys, everything. So that's all inadmissible. But they're going to try and find a way around that. As a detective, that's why the detective last week asked Jim, we need you to sort of be an informant and wear a wire and talk to Candace. Jim is hesitant because he got a little flame for Candace and he doesn't like to admit it. So Justin, what we see next week, is going to say, so that's why she killed him? And then Hannah's like, I didn't say she killed him. He goes, no, ma'am, you said. So in a way, he's trying to protect Jeffrey, but I don't appreciate it. I do not appreciate that. Because Jeffrey even told him, he goes, I can't do that. I can't do that. And he goes, why not? Like, she doesn't care about you. And like I said, Jeffrey is very impressionable, so I hated it even more that he was even telling Jeffrey that. But it looked like Justin is about to try and do this. And I don't mean who's going to get more jail time, because obviously if they both did the murder, they're going to get jail time. But what I mean is who's got more evidence racked against them. Because, yeah, they're looking for Jeffrey, but they want Candace. Jeffrey is sort of just, why were your car keys found with the body? How does that... You can easily say, I was just at my friend's house and I left the keys. You know, I was drunk. She gave me a ride home. So, in her car. So, I mean, you could say something like that. The fact is, would you lie? Because you know at this point, if that happens, Candace is screwed. Alone, by herself, if he lies. So, I don't know if Jeffrey would do that. Jeffrey don't want to go to jail. Because he's dang near about to marry Melissa. When apparently he's in love with this cop. And the cop is in love with him too. Even though he said he just likes him a lot and he's straight. So yeah, that was the episode tonight, y'all. I'm going to try my best to do shout outs this week. I'm going to try and end it here because, yeah, we finished in not as quick as I wanted to, because I know you guys don't like a long review. But quick as possible for me. Quick as possible. So thank you guys so much. I will definitely get some comments this week. I'm so sorry. I will get to the shout outs next week. I got you, Rosie. I got you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Y'all know the drill. I gotta go to school tomorrow. It is the one and only your girl Jada J. And with the one and only audience of you guys, thank you so much. I'm out. Peace.